I choose you!
On today's show, who knows the most about New York? Who's going to New York? Pokémon GO-Fest New York is here, and probably some of you might already have played it. Welcome back to the Incensed podcast. This is our New York GO-Fest special. Episode number is 132. I'm Ian Waterfall, and along with me this week are Barrow, Cooper, and Whitfield. Boys, how's it going?
I'm right with you, man. I'm in New York, and I'm loving it.
You are.
Well, I was going to say, mate, to answer your two questions at the start, not me and not me. To make it easier.
We'll find out later, We'll find out later.
What do you mean? I thought you were airlifted in a helicopter on top of the Empire State Building. That's where we're recording this show.
Oh,
You
yes.
look like a Ginger King Kong. Hang on to
Ginger
the
King
Empire
Kong.
State.
Ginger Kong.
Oh, I hate you all.
Ginge Kong.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
I'm piggybacking on the back of Ginge Kong as well.
Are you the damsel in distress he's picked up?
Yes. And we're both
rural
just singing
damsel.
when we're in New York. Oh, my God, the rural damsel. And the Ginger Kong.
I love that, Ginge Kong.
Oh, God.
Goodness
Boys,
me.
it feels surreal. We're kind of right in the heart of GO-Fest season. So we've had London, we've had Osaka. New York is this weekend. Next weekend is the Global.
It's the
I think
global
most of us, will we all be in London for this one?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Oh, yes.
I think we're
Definitely.
in Milo,
There's
haven't we?
one
I think.
well, we've already done one in Croydon, adjacent, like not far, Brixton.
It's
So should we
close
do this
by.
next one in Ealing?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
We can take the stab vest off for this one. It's okay.
Yes, they came in quite handy. I mean,
Yeah.
60 quid for a stab vest isn't cheap, but Amazon came through.
Yeah.
Not much of them left, though, is there, Ian? That's the problem. Not much
There
of
isn't.
the
They're
vests
looking a bit
left.
tattered.
They look like crop tops now.
Incensed stab vest.
Yeah.
Like rather than saying NCIS, it just says incensed.
Yeah, it's
Brilliant.
But it's a big weekend. It's the Super Bowl of Pokemon Go, as Billy said last year, and it's going to be a big weekend. The hype's there. Well, Milo and I have travelled out there. Unfortunately, Mark and Coops, you guys couldn't make it, could you? So hopefully we're going to bring you some shinies back.
please.
And let's make this a good show. So, for the 132nd time, Zoe, what do we need to do?
Pop your incenses, champions. Let's go.
Cheers, Zoe.
And specifically, if you've got anything good from GO-Fest New York, tag us on any of our socials, X, Instagram, Campfire, WhatsApp, email, however you want to do it. And don't forget to use the famous, it's becoming famous actually, isn't it? People are using it more and more. Hashtag Shinies of the Week.
Could you please clarify that spelling for me? Please.
Yes, JT, I can. It is hashtag SHINIESOFTHEWEEK. Now, boys, what shall we do next?
Just tell me about you, mate. Just what's going on?
Well, we never do this bit here.
We never do this bit here, no.
I'm shocked.
And I'm going to shock you again. It's a regional event. It's a in-person event. So the question I always ask on these events is, when I say to you this place's name, so in today's case, New York, what are your initial thoughts or what do you associate with, and in this case, New York? And after over a month off, Casual Coops, we'll go to you first.
And this is so cliche, but I know at the start I started singing the Alicia Keys. When you're in New York, concrete jungle. That is the first thing that comes to my head. Is that song, and I know that's weak. I know it's all so generic. Coops,
So
is so
Taylor
boring.
Swift's Welcome to New York didn't come in here.
Has she got a song?
Is
called
that your
Welcome?
answer, Ian?
That's my answer. No, it's not, but
Has she actually got a song
Mark's
called
Frank
Welcome?
Sinatra.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know it's generic. I know it's boring, but that is the answer is what comes to your head. That is the first thing that comes to my head. When someone says New York, I think when you're in New York, and I won't
That's
sing
a
it again.
banger of a song as well.
Great record, great voice,
Yeah.
Alicia Keys. So yeah, that'll be my answer, mate. That is the genuinely first thing that comes to my head.
Who are you tagging in?
Let's have Pogo Milo UK.
Alrighty then. Having been to New York once before back in 2014, and
No, I'm joking.
and this isn't actually a throwback to that one question about the Times Square ball on the pub
Oh
quiz.
my God, was this that incident? This is, oh no.
Yeah, no, for me, Times Square with all of the screens, lights, the busyness of everything, that for me is such a hub. And you see it in videos, movies and things, such a central part.
So iconic.
Yeah, iconic is the correct word. That pops it up in my head, and going there and experiencing it back in 2014 made it even more prominent, I would say.
And how did it feel 2 days ago when we went?
It was even better. It was fantastic. We talked to some people, definitely, while we were there at Times Square. You'll hear that in an episode.
In 2 weeks, maybe.
Maybe. There's the Incensed tour of New York coming up in digital audio guide. What about you, Mark? New York. What pops up into your mind?
Well, I've never been to America, so it's not any part of America actually. So, but I think a lot of it is driven by what you see on TV, movies, etc. I think of the hustle and bustle. That's sort of something that sort of strikes me with New York. I do like how on a lot of films you always find that they find vantage points on tops of office buildings and where they sit on and look across at the skyline of New York as if it's quite a regular place you can just escape from it all. But when I look at New York, I think about the Yankees, the baseball. That sort of springs to mind. I think of New York. Is it cheesecakes that are quite epic, aren't they?
New York is famous for cheesecake, yeah.
Love cheesecake. Think of that. And I think the big thing for me is Central Park. The park. Yeah, I loved the photos of what I've seen of it. I just can't get my head around having such a big park area in the middle of a city as big as that.
It kind of dwarfs Walpole, doesn't it?
Kind of.
Well, funnily enough, New York dwarfs Ealing.
True.
Right. All right, Milo. If you lived in Central Park, you'd probably live on 27 stops, wouldn't you, Milo? Not
They're fantastic.
I don't think it's cheap to live near Central Park, though.
No.
Probably not.
Mind you, it's not cheap to live in London, so...
Ian, what about yourself, mate? Because you are well-travelled, so I'm sure this
Yeah,
will not be your
I've
first
only actually
rodeo,
ever been to New York once in the past. And similar to Milo, it was a long time ago. It was like 14 years ago. And I have done a lot of the sightseeing in New York. There's so many things I associate with New York, so I find it hard to just narrow it down to one. So the yellow cabs is very iconic and is something that everybody does. Steam rising from the grates, that's something that's quite, again, iconic. Something I've recently found, actually, and this isn't my answer, but I'm just going on a tangent here. Something I've recently found on YouTube, and it's actually a real thing, and by now I will have introduced Milo to it, is they do dollar pizza in New York. You can actually buy a slice of pizza for $1.
You have made a big song
crazy.
and dance about this before we were even here.
So the fact that Milo and I are poor because we spent all our money getting to New York, we could eat pizza very cheaply and live on pizza. In fact, that could be a challenge, actually. We only ate pizza for one day.
I thought you were going to say, who can't eat for the longest because we can't afford it?
Yeah. and then, of course, you've got the iconic sitcoms and films that have been there. So, I mean, to name a few, Seinfeld, Friends, King of Queens. There's been so many sitcoms based in New York. Ghostbusters, so many films. I could go on forever. But the one thing that I always associate with New York, and somebody had to say it. Now, she's not here tonight for the recording, but I know she's going to quite quickly correct me, but the Statue of Liberty. Now, I think it's technically New Jersey that this is located in, but it is associated quite heavily with New York, and that is the thing that I always think off the top of my head is
very iconic.
Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
And in particular, Ghostbusters 2, where it's walking around and it's alive.
Ian, were you just on Google just like reading off a list of all sites?
I actually wasn't, believe it or not, no.
Wikipedia.
Hey, Ian, I thought when you said about great films, I thought you were going to go down like the rom-com route, like you've got Mail and films like that there with all the good things in New York, Ian.
I don't do chick flicks.
Sorry.
Like, speaking
Milo.
of films,
Milo.
can I add in one? Do you know what? Yeah, you know we've all missed out. It's the Empire State Building, isn't it? In New.
Well, that's what we said at the beginning.
That's
that you
where
was
we're
hanging
at.
off the top
That's
of,
where we're at now.
Yeah. No, but
Yeah.
like I'm saying, I missed that one off because that is because it's James and the Giant Peach, isn't it? Is it the Roald Dahl? Is it the Peach? It's in New York, isn't it? I'm sure it's in the Empire State Building. Have I made that up?
I have not a clue.
Did you know, Coops, that the Empire State Building also features in Sleepless in Seattle? That's a bit of a
Ooh.
bit of trivia for you there as well.
It's also featured in Doctor Who, in the Daleks Take Manhattan.
Yeah, true.
But again, we go off on a tangent, and again, New York is such an iconic city. It's such an amazing city, and I couldn't let one of these sections go without bringing in James Bond, because of course James Bond visited New York as well back in 1973 in Live and Let Die. And as we record this, I will have hopefully taken Milo to see some of the sites.
Oh, you mean you could take Milo to the restaurant When Harry Met Sally?
Let's not go there. If we reenacted one of these scenes,
We should do that, actually.
it will be on Patreon.
That'd be funny.
Oh, no, actually, I'm going to tell you boys this now as well, because I'm quite excited about this. One of my favourite all-time films is Ghostbusters, and we're actually going to hunt down the firehouse that is actually the
Yes, I
location
want
for
to see the
Ghostbusters.
location.
Who are we going to call? Ian and Milo. There you go. That's the new
Milo.
thing.
The Incensed podcast.
Walk around with vacuum cleaners on our backs.
Hunting down Duskulls and stuff like that. You can imagine Carty Coops.
No, I thought you were going to say hunting down the
Shiny Gollets.
the ginger Kong.
Shiny
Just imagine
Gollets.
if there's ghost types outside the firehouse.
That's what I mean. Shiny Gollet
Yes.
was dropped for this one, so
Ooh.
there you go.
But that's enough talk about New York. Coops, I believe you want to chat with us.
Yes, I did actually, Ian. It's like we've got show notes. no. I
It's
actually
almost like
wanted
we planned this thing out.
Right, bro? I was thinking the same thing. No,
Us planning.
now I know that over the few years we've done the podcast, and even before then, Safari Zones, Go-Fest, all these sort of live events have become very popular. And I understand why. They're a huge part of the game and a huge part of the community, which everyone actually looks forward to doing. I should say playing, not doing, playing.
Yeah.
And we always obviously really bang home the point of these Go-Fests and Safari Zones. So, for example, this is the New York episode. We talk about New York, we talk about Go-Fest. Then when we have the London one, we talk about that, et cetera. Now, I obviously know that Milo and Ian, you're the only two out of the four of us that have gone to this New York Go-Fest. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Obviously, these things aren't cheap, right? We can all agree on that.
They're not cheap at all.
No.
So my question, this little chat I wanted to have for 5-10 minutes, and this is not putting no negative light on live events. This is not me being cynical, nothing like that. I just genuinely want to know from each of our opinions, are live events really worth the cost? And with that, I mean the tickets that Pokemon Go do, travel, hotels, food, drink, and everything in between. Are live events in Pokemon Go really worth it?
I would jump in and say yes, but sort of like any trip that you might do, it's what you make of it yourself. And we've had experience of talking to people who've, combined a trip to somewhere around a live event and they've gone for 2 weeks, or some people who fly in, literally do the day of the event and then go back home.
Yeah.
There's a big scope of how you can play these live events. And I'd say that Pokemon Go, yes, may be the reason you're sort of going out there at that exact time. But what you do outside of what is usually like an 8 or 10 hour play day window is entirely up to you. And whether you go cheap and cheerful or whether you decide to splurge some cash or, I don't know, whatever at it is entirely your choice. I would always argue that they are very much worth it because it may be somewhere that you've never been before, or somewhere that you haven't been in a very long time, like New York. I haven't been here since 2014. And it's really, really good to come back with Pokemon Go now firmly at my side. It was before the game was released. It was a completely different part of my life. It's really good to come back. The travel bit is always going to be expensive, even if you don't go for Pokemon Go. And then the event, we have always talked about it when we talk about the Safari Zones and the Go-Fest, certainly in 2022, when we all sort of started to go to live events together properly. The live event experience is unparalleled to anything else. The sheer number of people who go there, the people you meet for the first time, maybe you've been talking online, etc., the availability of what's in the game, the sort of exclusivity of that event, and the just whole general vibe of it. The whole package, I think, really makes it unique and worth the investment, as it were.
Yeah, I'll jump off the back of that. It's a very subjective thing, in my opinion. Some people will see a value in going to these events, going somewhere and experiencing these things. We've talked about, like Milo said, we've talked about these events many times over the last 3 years. Now, I personally do see a value in going to these events, but New York, for me, this one is kind of a little bit different to what I've been doing of late. So I'm staying in New York for 5 days. So I'm kind of flying in, doing 3 days of the event, and I'm bookending it with 1 day each side of it where I can actually just do other things. Milo, you're in a slightly different position in that you've actually stayed in the States for a couple of weeks this time, which is kind of what I did last time.
Yeah, for Vegas. Yeah.
So, yes, in my opinion, these events are worth it, but that is my opinion for me. Some people genuinely can't afford to go to these events, therefore they're not worth it to them. Some people don't have the vacation time or they have commitments so they can't go to them, so there is probably no value there. So it's a difficult question, but I always take it back to, and Milo said this a second ago, when you're at these events, the whole getting there is irrelevant. You're in a completely different world. You're in this bubble of a Pokemon Go Live event, which dwarfs everything else. And it's like being at Disneyland for a couple of days. So, yeah, I see both sides. For me, I personally find a value, which is why I go to these things. And it's okay if you don't see a value in it, but certainly try a live event if you can get to one, because you'll never look back.
Yeah, it's a really good question, because for me, I think I don't consider doing. I mean, if it wasn't for the game, I wouldn't be doing the trips. So get to the first bit about it. It's the game that's getting me to do these trips.
Yeah,
but it's the game which takes you to parts of the world or parts on this planet you probably wouldn't ordinarily go to if you didn't have a reason to go there. And do I think they're worth it? Again, I'm answering this for myself.
Sorry, Marky, are you saying that you wouldn't have gone to Liverpool if you... Is that what you're
in the vlog, actually, that you wouldn't have gone to Liverpool?
That's careful now.
Definitely wouldn't have gone to Croydon, would you, a few weeks ago, mate?
Yeah.
I'm joking. Sorry, carry on.
But there's a cost to all these things, obviously. And my personal opinion is I think it's money well spent. I've done some of the trips on my own. We've gone with friends, and we've shared the cost between us, which is always helpful. And I've also sort of tied it in with a holiday as well. And we've both got something out of it as well. Me and my better half. So it's like the event of the game gives you an opportunity to go to somewhere, and I've said that before. I've had some of the best experiences in those parks playing the game. It's been fantastic, but the majority of the whole experience has been what's happened outside of the game, and I think all those other memories, in my opinion, make it worthwhile. And it's like having the best of both worlds. You can geek out, and then you can chill out and make new memories. Playing the game and exploring a new place. And I think they go hand in hand so well. What about you, Monsieur Coops? Because obviously you've travelled around. You've been around playing the game. You've done it. What do you think?
So the reason why I wanted to ask, and I actually think we're all singing from the same hymn book here. That's the phrase, isn't it? Yeah, all
that's
singing from the same.
Hymn sheet. Yeah.
I thought Ian was going to start laughing like Coops. That doesn't mean that at all. and I'm going to answer this. The reason why I ask, because I'm going to answer this as someone that loves Pokemon Go, and I'm addicted to the game because I absolutely love it and I get a lot from it. These events are 5 million% worth it, in my opinion. Well worth the money, well worth the time, well worth the effort, because it's really hard to explain, but like what you lot have touched on, when you're in love with this game and when you're actually excited about playing this game, I think it's quite rare. And Milo, you might correct me and you might say Coops actually disagree, but I feel like this game, it's very rare we get excited for a raid boss. And when I'm talking excited, I mean legitimate. We cannot put the phone down from the second we get up to the second we go to bed. I feel like back in the day,
Coops?
but back in the day, it used to happen quite regularly. But whereas I feel like now it's not as regular, and I don't know why that is. Maybe the features and the updates. I think
it's the passage of time as well.
Yeah. I think they just don't hit as hard. But what I'm saying is that, like, it's very rare you get excited for a shiny or, like I said, a new event or a raid boss or a new shadow. It's just something that's going on in the game. Maybe just leave that there, otherwise I could go on for days. Whereas when you're in these live events, there's so much genuine excitement and so much genuine passion that you want to be there, you want to play these events, and you want to get the 5 or 6 new shinies, or the 4 or 5 incredible raid bosses, or the 4 or 5 YouTubers that you wanted to meet, or the 4 or 5 locations you wanted to eat at. I just feel like there's so much to it than just walking around your local area and slagging off events that are crap. So from me, I really, really, really do. And obviously, depending on your salary, depending on what you do for a living, depending on how much you've got to give to these events. Obviously, I'm not going to go and spend 25 grand on a Pokemon
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's people out there that 25 grand to them is only 1,000 to me. So they would pay that money. So this is all, like Ian said, it's all
subjective.
It's subjective to what you do for a living and how well you've done for yourself, which is great, good for you. But yeah, I've got a limit on everything. But like I've said, these events, to go to a place like New York or Japan for a week, 10 days, and spend a few £1,000s, a few $1,000s, in my opinion, I really do think it's worth it if you love the game, without a doubt.
100%.
Coops, you hit on something there that is very sort of poignant, in that you go to these events, you see people that you might only see at these events. You see creators that you've watched on YouTube for years that are at these events. They're such a hub for the community, and we've talked about sort of communities in the past, that we've got these online communities, and like we see people. We get to see Holmes Ninja this weekend. We get to see a few of the patrons that live in the States that
absolutely
don't generally live anywhere near us. It is so nice to actually see people at these events and connect with people on a real world IRL kind of situation.
It's that thing about building up the sort of memories and the good times as well, because looking back at the things we've done together, you could say, like, yes, a community day meetup, yes, it's fantastic, it's really good, you can get a good crowd out. We had a fantastic crowd out for Litwick back last year. Even thinking back to the Squirtle Con Day Classic a couple of months ago, you get good meetups for community days, particularly if it's sort of a good area, etc. If you've experienced one of those, scale it up 50,000 times.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, look back to 2 weeks ago. I mean, the London event was amazing.
Quite. And then with Niantic putting all the sort of effort and everything into real world biomes, things and props you can walk around. You have all the meet and greet stuff with Pikachu and Eevee as well, more than likely.
Well, I mean, do you know what? You make a good point.
There's so much.
Yeah, you make a good point. London was amazing. Good job we had the stab-proof vests that we were able to lend to Ian
Branded.
Pikachu.
Yeah, it was a good job we got onto Amazon in time. Yeah.
Branded incensed stab vests.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah,
Yes, thanks, Jeff.
It is 5,000 million% bigger, isn't it, in person than these big events? Like, I still remember my first moment abroad. Yeah, I will level with you boys. I was so negative about Liverpool Safari Zone because we played.
I remember
it before.
because you said you wasn't even going to go.
Wasn't even going to go. But you know what? That was probably one of my most enjoyable events because it was in our country, and everyone made the effort for it, didn't they? There was a good crowd up there. It just felt really good. We obviously made a great event around for it. But I love Dortmund. I love those moments. I love that moment. I was in that park for that early access ticket, and you just heard joy around you, just joy. Everyone, however they were playing it, there was just pockets of joy everywhere. And it's a national game, is it? International people playing it. It's amazing the people you see. And you meet them again, don't you, on those journeys. Like you said, you might not meet them again to the next event.
Totally.
But the friendship doesn't die. It carries on during that period, which is really important as well. But
yeah, 100%. It's also about the places you go. Like, I can 100% say all of the live events over the last sort of 2 years, I wouldn't have ever considered going to these, or certainly not at the moment anyway. Seattle, Las Vegas. I mean, most people go to Las Vegas for a stag do. We went there to play Pokemon Go and hang out in a dusty park. Sevilla, I wouldn't have gone to that part of Spain. And even Liverpool, I wouldn't have really been on my list of places to go. But you go there because of the game, but then the expanded area around that, what you can do with the time outside of the game, is entirely up to you.
Do you want to hear something funny? You just go through that list mile out. Wouldn't go here, wouldn't go here. Okay, Las Vegas, been there before. New York, been there before. Liverpool, been there before.
Yeah, but I haven't got to where you are yet. Give me a couple of years, perhaps.
Might as well. You normally go
back.
to Vegas on a stag do, but I went there to
I know.
play
Pokemon. Yeah.
I've never been to Vegas on a stag do. I've been like 7 times and never on a stag do.
Well, that's more typical. It's like there were people who were from West London on the plane with us, and they were there for a stag do.
Yes, there were.
Very coincidental.
Ian, I'll make sure I invite you to mine then, mate. Might not be Las Vegas, but potentially Liverpool again.
That was a good night out. Literally,
Yeah,
girls in
yeah.
cellophane dresses. It's unbelievable.
Great, clean film. Fantastic.
Not his stag do though.
Oh god! But I'm even throwing about, like Mark mentioned, Dortmund. You know, me and my mates, we did a road trip across Europe to go to that GO-Fest in 2019.
Dortmund was good times.
I wouldn't have
was.
thought of doing that. I'd love a road trip, me, but it's like, do you have the reason? Where would you go? No,
Amsterdam?
let's drive to Dortmund. Well, that exactly. That's another thing of making something out of an event, not quite as a grand scale, shall we say. But what you can go kind of wild with it, essentially. Obviously, as Coops mentioned, your budget is your budget. But it doesn't mean you can't go and have a good time, go and visit some places. We've been to all manner of places in New York now.
We have, and don't forget, it's the Global next week.
No, I appreciate that though, lads, because obviously, like, you know, there'll be a lot of different. I feel like there'll be a lot of opinions out there, and every single opinion will be totally different. Some people will be, yes, it's worth it. You know what I mean? Some will be like, no, it's not. And actually, I can hear people behind us even discussing it right now. Is that because we're in?
So Mark's been evicted, and I'm taking charge. We have another pub quiz, a specifically New York-themed pub quiz for this New York
It's
spec.
a good job,
So,
considering we're at the top of the Empire State Building.
exactly. Now, 6 questions tonight, boys, and we've got a little bit of a mix in there, so we'll see how good your New York knowledge is. I'm going to ease you in nice and gently to start with. So, question number 1. What is the name of the coffee shop in Friends? Is it A, Central Park, B, Central Perk, or C, Central Pork? Coops, let's go with you first, my man.
Yeah, because you know I've never seen an episode of Friends. Well done.
I know, but I know Milo has because he binged it during COVID.
I've got a feeling it's Central Park. It's not Central Pork, is it? No, it's Park. Central Park.
Central
So-
pork scratchings.
Your answer is Central Park.
Was that A? Was it A the first
That was
one?
A, yes.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so Coops has gone A. Masterful 27.
I like Friends.
I thought you might.
Friends.
Friends. It's kind of from our generation, isn't it?
It is. And I definitely can confirm it's not Central Pork.
That's good then.
Coops
Coops got a 50-50 chance of being right with this one now, that's what we're saying.
That's the butcher's shop next door, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm fairly confident, though, it is Central Perk, which is B.
Central Perk for Mark.
Oh, are you for real? I've got it wrong. Oh, for God's sake.
And Whitfield.
Give me option B, please.
The Central Perk.
Central Perk.
Okie
I like
dokie.
I love doing a quiz. This is unique for me. I
I
like
know
it.
it's not often you're this side of the quizmaster, is it?
Oh.
So moving on, question number 2. Which of the following museums is not located in New York?
Ooh.
Is it A, the Getty? Is it B, the Museum of Modern Art? Or is it C, the Metropolitan Museum of Art? And Whitfield.
Oh, this is quite embarrassing considering I went through lots and lots of art galleries in 2014 in New York, but that was many moons ago.
When I were a lad.
And I were in art school. Yeah, my memory bank is failing me, so I'm going to go for option A.
Coops.
C. No idea.
And Masterful 27.
I was drawn to A as well. So I'm not copying you, Milo. Friends. I think A, the Getty.
Okay, moving on to question number 3. What was the original name of New York City? Was it New London, New Rome, or New Amsterdam? Barrow, let's go with you first on this one.
I'm going to say it's New Amsterdam, and I'm not going to go into too much detail. Yeah, New Amsterdam.
Whitfield,
See, I was drawn to Amsterdam as well, actually.
I know you're drawn to Amsterdam.
Yeah, I know. For one reason or another. But no, I wouldn't think that they called it New London. That's ridiculous.
Oh, sorry, Coops. No hard feelings.
New Croydon.
I'm just thinking New Croydon. I don't know. Just thinking It doesn't ring well. Yeah, I'll go New Amsterdam.
Casual Coops.
I know you lot are going to take the mickey out of me. When you read out the answers, I genuinely thought New London, and that's no cap. Like, I'm being deadly serious. I've got absolutely no idea. But what I will do, I will follow suit, and I'll go New Amsterdam.
So what you're saying is at least you've got a chance of getting one question right tonight.
Correct.
Unless we both got that wrong.
Maybe.
Unless they got it wrong. Okay, so history. Question number 4. In what year did the New York subway open? Was it 1904, 1914, or 1924? And let's go back to Casual Coops for this one.
Right, let me use a bit of knowledge. Titanic sank in 1912, so that's B. That's 1940, just after that. What was C, Ian?
24.
What was the question?
What year did the New York subway open?
Do you know what? I reckon they built... I'm going to use my knowledge here. They built the Titanic. It's a big ship. I would have reckoned around that time trains would have been a thing, but I feel like 1904 is a bit early. So I'm going to go B, which was 1914. I'm going to go in the middle because that sits right with me. But it could be 04, but I'm going to go 14. B.
Okay. Whitfield.
So it's one of the oldest sort of subway networks, isn't it? That's the thing.
I have to remain impartial. I cannot say
I wasn't
this
asking
one.
if it was rhetorical, don't worry. I will go with I think it might be A, very early.
You go A?
Yeah, I'm gonna go A.
Okay. And Mr. Barrow.
I like Coops' logic on this because the New York subway is one of the world's oldest transport systems in the world, and I'm in that headspace where I think it would have been around before the Titanic. I like the reference point, Coops, because you've kind of given me a timeline just by mentioning that, which I probably didn't have before. So I'm gonna go oldest out of the three. So was that 04? Was it Milo? Was that when you went? I'm gonna go A04 as well.
04 is A, yes.
I think it's 04, based on that timeline of transport systems and that. Yeah.
Okay, so 2 questions to go. Question number 5. On average, and I stress average, how many times a year does the Empire State Building, where we're currently situated, get struck by lightning?
Right
Is it
now?
A, an average of 13 times a year, B, an average of 23 times a year, or C, an average of 33 times a year? And I stress average. This is not exact.
So this is an average taken over.
This is average taken over where I found this question.
Ah, okay.
Who's first, bro?
Barrow this time.
I've got no idea, so I'm going to just go in the middle, B. What was B in?
B was 23.
Right, B.
Coops.
Yeah, I've not been in New York for a week, let alone a year. I don't have no idea what the weather's like. I'll go middle of the road. I'll go B, please.
Okay, and Whitfield.
I have a suspicion it's either one of the extremes. Something, I don't know.
Would I be as evil as Barrow?
Perhaps.
We'll see.
Mr. Quizmaster. I will stick my neck out and go C, 33.
Okay, so final question. Which of these rivers does not run through New York City? Is it A, the Hudson, B, the East River, or C, the Delaware River? Whitfield.
I will go C.
C.
For no particular reason.
Masterful 27.
God, what were the options again, Ian?
Hudson,
Yeah.
East,
Yeah.
or Delaware?
I'm going to say Hudson. I think Hudson is in New York, but I'm just going to say Hudson.
And Casual Coops.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I was going to go Hudson. Yeah, I'm going to go the same. Hudson, please, mate.
Okay, so we have a tie. In second place with 2 out of 6.
Yep, it's me. It's obvious. Next.
No, it's me. It's pub quizzes. Come on.
No, it's Coops. He was so
Oh.
close with a lot of his thought patterns, but went the other way. But so yeah, Coops got 2 out of 6. Now, I'm going to take my hat off to you because I actually thought Mark was going to get a clean sweep until the very last question.
Oh.
So, Milo and Mark, GG's boys, 5 out of 6 each.
5 out of 6.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So which ones did we get wrong?
So, Milo, you got question 5 wrong. It wasn't an extreme. It was 23 times
it was in the
on
middle.
average a year that the Empire
Okay.
State Building gets struck by lightning. And Mark went, question 6 went for the Hudson River. The Hudson actually does
I'm
run through
thinking
New York
Sully.
City. Sully, the land of the
Yeah.
plane on it. Yeah, the answer was the Delaware.
So
Good stuff, Marky. 5 out of 6. That's what
Now,
a
well
ratio.
done,
We've
Milo.
got a tie, which does, of course, mean we go into deadlock. And I'm going to let Coops join in on this one, but realistically, it will be between the two of you who is the closest
Please
to
don't
this
say it's about
number.
Windows.
It's a closest one. It's not about Windows.
Damn.
So, I want your answer in meters.
Okay.
Okay.
Not
How
diameters.
tall is the Statue of Liberty in meters? Not diameters, normal metric meters.
Oh.
And let's go Coops first, and let's see if his logic helps you guys come to a conclusion.
Right.
With a light.
Thank you for letting me get involved. So, 100 meters is a race. Usain Bolt runs it in something stupid, 9 seconds. It's definitely shorter than that, without a doubt. It's from what I've seen of pictures of New York, it's tiny. A lot of people say I think it's a lot smaller than what you think it is. So I'm actually going to say half of 100 is 50, and I think this is controversial, but I think it's probably 50, 60 meters max. So let me just go in 60 meters, and even that I think is a bit too big, but
Okay. You were so close to the clean sweep. Masterful 27, you can go next.
I agree with Coops' sort of mindset on this, where I do generally think it's shorter than you realise it is. It isn't massive, and I remember when I was in France, I saw a replica of the Statue of Liberty because it was donated from France, wasn't it? The Statue of Liberty. It was a gift from
It was.
the French.
We saw one in Vegas.
So, and it was a replica, and it was taller than I thought it would have been, but it wasn't massive. Because I think it was 2 of them. They had one, they kept one, and one was given to America. I think it's under 100 meters, but I don't think it's as small as that. So I'm going to go. I'll say probably about between 80 and 90. I'm going to say 85 meters.
And finally, Mr. Whitfield, how tall is the Statue of Liberty? in
Well, I don't
meters?
know. I'm going to have to approximate on it. This might be quite embarrassing considering I did go and see it in 2014.
And also in Vegas.
Yes, but we're not talking about that one.
No, we're talking about the real one.
No, so the one in Vegas is 10 meters tall. So, see, it is still quite tall when you're standing at the bottom of it. I want to say, I'm going to put it as 160 meters.
bro, it
like
can't
160.
be. It can't
160, something like that.
be. 160 meters.
Right, answer time. And we have a winner.
Good stuff.
So, Milo was as far out with his height of the Statue of Liberty as was with Windows for the Shard.
Yay.
Oh, Milo.
And Coops was fairly close, but
Oh,
not as close as Mark.
What was Mark's guess?
Mark's guess was 85 meters,
Oh, there you go.
and the
Was it like
Statue of
80?
Liberty stands 93 meters tall.
oh,
So
okay.
very,
there
very
we go.
close. Good guess.
Well done.
And Mark is, you know what? Mark's a winner, and he should be because he normally
New
does
York.
the pub quiz.
The New York winner.
The
New York
W
winner.
goes to Masterful 27. GG's,
Congratulations.
my man.
Thank you, Ian. It was lovely to be on the other side of the bar for tonight, mate. That's really good.
The other side of the bar at the top of the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well done, mate. I'm genuinely really shocked. If you took a 100-meter track, put it on its side, that is bloody tall. That is really, really, really tall. So anyone that says it's not as big as what you think, I'm going to say actually it's 93 meters tall.
Yeah, I am as well.
Yes.
Though.
Exactly.
So, boys, if we can have a look at how this might compare to the other American events. Obviously, we had Seattle GO-Fest last year. We had Vegas earlier this year. And there have been a smattering of other things. Chicago twice. So, looking at it game value, obviously, this has dropped Shiny Skrelp and Shiny Golett. I'm sort of thinking back to Seattle that in reality only dropped one new shiny, which I believe was Combi from memory. So I'm trying to think, like, what do we expect from this event? Do we think it's going to be as good? I mean, it is New York after all. Or do we think it might just be an expensive letdown?
Well, before we get into this conversation, I know some eagle-eared listeners will correct you. There's actually been 3 Chicago Go-Fests.
3
not 2.
Chicago, okay. Oh, yes, true. 17, 18, 19.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Talk
Well,
about
the trainer
freshening it
club
up a little
got
bit,
fact
eh?
wrong.
I know. I'm thinking, wait, Billy?
Ian's
Billy?
like, I went there.
Didn't go 18, didn't go 17, went 19.
Sounds a bit boring, that, doesn't it? Chicago.
Well, they had a 3-year deal. That's the
Chicago.
reason it was
Chicago.
Chicago for 3 years.
Amazing place, by the way. Did I say that I went last year? Beep, 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 beep. To be honest, let's just, shockingly put the banter to one side. Obviously, I'm not going. I mean, I'm here now, but I'm not.
You'll play home before the event.
Turned
Yeah.
up and not done the
No,
Go-Fest.
let's just be real.
Breaking news.
Yeah,
on the
let's not-
Incensed podcast.
No, let's not mess about. So I'm obviously not gone to New York. I'm not playing that Go-Fest. The same as Japan. The only one that I've done was London, and I'm going to be doing the global next week. Oh my God, it's in a week. How exciting.
Yep.
So
Oh my God.
I'll be honest. In my opinion, I was quite glad when all of the information got released over the drips and drabs over the coming weeks up to this weekend, because I do feel like it's probably on paper the worst one. Now, I don't mean to be horrible, but it does kind of
I
look.
think on paper you're right, to be
Yeah.
honest, looking at the others that
No, we
we've
all
had
sort of
and will
had
have.
Yeah.
a similar vibe when we read
Yeah.
it out a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
So that's kind of like, I'm just super grateful that London happened and, was incredible.
London popped off.
Yeah, but obviously, not. I didn't want to jump in and give my opinion, but I don't really have an opinion. It's kind of just like on paper, it doesn't look great, but I know it's totally different when you're there. So I was quite glad of that. That my FOMO's not kicking in. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say. So I'm sort of going up, down, left, right. But on paper, this does not look my expectation that it's going to be anywhere near as good as London town. Just my opinion.
Mm-hmm. No bias.
Maybe
London,
a little.
innit?
It's London, baby.
Landon Gavner.
That's
Get those
Australian.
jellied
nearly.
eels out, Coops.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's an awful event when you compare them. If I was just going purely for the game, then I'd be very disappointed. Fortunately, Pokemon Go isn't just about the game, but I do actually have this sort of opinion, and it might be very controversial. America shouldn't get it good all the time. I get a bit fed up with the fact that everyone keeps going, America's great. It is, don't get me wrong. I've never been, though. But Americans have this...
Chicago.
But there's this whole perception that America should have the biggest events and the greatest events. Well, no, they shouldn't have the biggest and greatest events. And actually, those who love the game and want to travel, a lot of the players that stay there don't come out and travel around. I know you boys are going to be traveling to America. You play the European events, and that's a commitment in itself. But actually, I look at that, and it's an awful comparable to the other 2 events. And actually, I'm good with it, because at the end of the day, it's got to sort of cater everything, and actually it's big. New places on the map having Go-Fest need to have the biggest draw. And the UK getting one this year is what it's all about, as far as I'm concerned. It's a big statement. It's happened. Hopefully there's a 3-year deal there that we're not aware of. Boys, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Imagine that. London
I
23.
hope so.
London 24.
Hope so.
Well,
London
let's just hope the
25.
attendance figures were good and the revenue that it brought to London town.
Yeah, and that's what
was
it's about,
good,
isn't
because that's the
it?
only thing that's going to bring it back, yeah.
Absolutely. But no, I mean, go away from what the event actually has entail. I think it'll be phenomenal again. I think the people just know how to have a great time. Very different types of players. I think it's going to be a real boisterous atmosphere in New York, in the ghetto, equivalent to as we've all escaped and survived in London previous to this event. And I think we should all play Global Go-Fest in the ghetto. So who's up for it, boys?
We did, didn't we,
Oh,
like
God.
2 weeks ago?
Global
only just
Go-Fest. Oh, yeah. But no, I mean, it's more than the event, as I think it is. But we need to be brutally honest about it as well. And I think I think that's why we're here, to give our opinions on it. And I hope you boys have a fantastic time, because the last event in America in Vegas was also a bit underwhelming from what I've heard since. I think it needs to be a good blowout, doesn't it? What do you think? What are you guys looking forward to the most? Because you're going to be there in person. What are your sort of expectations around the event?
Well, comparing it, as Milo initially said, against previous American events, it certainly doesn't match, again, on paper. At the point of recording this, we haven't played the New York Go-Fest yet, but it certainly doesn't, on paper, look anywhere near, firstly, as good as Chicago 2019. It doesn't look as good as Seattle last year, although I think the location might be better for a lot of people. Well, let's face it, if they don't get stabbed or mugged, then at least it's flat. So,
it's a winner. It's a winner.
Seattle was very hilly, but beautiful city. And Vegas is a difficult one. It was an okay event, but it was hindered by so many problems that were probably unforeseen at the point of getting the event put together. Predominantly being in the middle of a desert, in a sandy park, and having really
and the game not working.
And the game not working.
It's a desert, isn't it, at the end of the day, like you say?
Vegas is a desert, yeah. I mean, it's great to have an event in Vegas, but you've kind of got to expect you're in the middle of the desert, so not the best idea. You wouldn't put, like, let's have a Go-Fest in the Sahara. It's not something you'd really do.
Make a
Let's do it.
drop.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So, in terms of this event, I'm hoping the gameplay is better than we think it's going to be. And historically, dead live events, and I'm going to use Seville as an example. We didn't have high hopes for Safari Zone Seville. But when we were there, it played out amazing. It was brilliant, probably the best reception we've ever had. And it was flawless, and that goes out in no small part to the team at 90 that put that event together, specifically the European team.
Yes.
The North American team, we'll see if they can pull this off. Now, I love New York as a city. I've only been once before. This is my second time, but I love New York as a city. So the draw for this, I would say for me, is more the fact that it is in such an iconic place. Not the best park in this iconic place, but
that's
it's
an understatement.
Yeah, it's in a great city, and I think that in itself is the draw. We'll talk about it in 2 weeks, but I'm pretty sure that there'll be some surprises. We'll get a good weekend, but I don't know really yet how it will compare. Certainly on paper, it's going to be hard to top the Chicago. Certainly 2018, 2019, they were better events on paper, and they were sort of phenomenal gameplay.
Yeah, they were sort of the heights of the American events, really, weren't they?
Yeah.
Milo, did you go to Chicago? Sorry to jump in.
Nope.
Did you do any of them? No.
I did not.
He
no.
listens to Chicago.
Speak unwise, Ian. Speak unwisely. I think in terms of me, I'm probably on a similar vein to Ian, is that I've only been to New York once before. At this point, it was nearly 10 years ago, as I said earlier. And going to that city, it will be incredibly iconic. It will make the trip. And this is what we say about almost all live events, is that the content of the game sometimes is almost an aside. Certainly like Seville, when we read that out in, I think it was February 2022 or March of 2022.
We were all underwhelmed by
like,
that list of
wow,
spawns.
These spawns are dead. But then you went there and it was a smashing event, and it's sort of like the actual spawns themselves didn't matter too much, as it were. I'm kind of hoping that on paper that's
they
what
did
New
to me,
York
because I didn't
Go-Fest
really
will
get
be
many
like.
shinies.
I know you were sat around for 5 hours.
Shinyless, yeah. Spitting
many colourful
obscenities
words
at you and Mark, yes.
yes, indeed. Maybe New York will be the same. Who knows? But
hopefully the reverse of that, and I'll be getting the shinies while you're
I'm trying to
spitting
think sort of
obscenities.
basic on paper in terms of, let's compare it. The similar gameplay strat is that New York and Seattle, you can kind of combine them. And I don't know whether I'm sort of biased because Seattle was my sort of first American event, but Seattle was incredible, really. You could argue that some of the spawns on that were a bit dead, but then you go there and it's such a melee and a whirlwind of meeting people, saying hello, the IRL structures you have for the biomes and everything that you kind of get
Actually,
taken
Seattle
away by
was really good. I mean, when I said that it was not as good, it was. The only thing is, it's such a steep city that
That's
you
with
were
your
dying
ankles.
after walking up like one hill.
I was reveling in the hills from growing up in Bristol. I was familiar with that sort of territory. But Seattle was pretty good. This will just be a different style, I think. The only thing I can really keep my fingers crossed is they learnt from the Vegas errors and have actually put enough cells on wheels or cows in the park and wherever we're needed to make sure you can play the game smoothly. Because if they haven't done that, potatoes, yes, perhaps potatoes with a satellite dish on them.
Well, fear not, Milo. I mean, good news. They've got loads of people working for Niantic, so they've got loads of resource available.
They didn't lay a bunch of people off a few weeks ago.
No, they haven't done that.
No, absolutely not. So if they haven't learnt from the Vegas issues and the connectivity issues, that's a bad thing, because really 2022 Go-Fest, there wasn't a bad one particularly.
No, I think certainly in terms of the Go-Fests, I think they will have learned their lesson, purely because if we remember, the Hoenn Tour was just an event in Sunset Park.
Yeah.
This is a morning session, an afternoon session, and limited admission. Granted, it's a public park, people can go there, but the actual player base will be split.
And
so
how many people who are not playing Pokemon Go are going to go to Randall's Park? Randall's Island?
I don't know.
I would like some death, please. By which method, I don't know, but I'll come to the park.
Great chat, boys. And hopefully, if Brockwell Park 2 weeks ago is anything to go by, the gameplay is going to be seamless. But time for a game. It's time to chase the tail.
Chasing the tail. Chasing the tail. Tail to chase. It's chasing the tail.
Oh, this is a classic game. Chasing the tail. The word association game with Pokemon. Well, we'll try and simplify the rules for those who are only listening to this for the first time. Basically, we will all go in a certain order. One of us will name a Pokemon, and the next person has to name a Pokemon that begins with the last letter of the previous one. So I would say, for example, Pikachu, and someone else might go Umbreon. But it isn't just like that. We can't have repeats. And that is from the first Pokemon right through to the last Pokemon in the last round. Any repeats, you will also be out. And the final rule, and a very simple rule at that, hesitation. If you hesitate for a little bit longer than 5 seconds, you might get a buzz to eliminate. Ooh, that was a second in, very efficient there. If you hesitate too much. So the order we will go in, I will start the first round. And the order on my screen, it'll be myself, then it'll be Pogo Milo UK, it'll be Mr. Vassafal Leon, and Casual Coops.
Okay.
So, are we ready?
Let's
boys?
go.
I'm going to start off proceedings with Sawaddle.
Electivire.
Eevee.
Electabuzz.
Zebstriker.
Anorith.
Helioptile.
Escavalier.
Oh! Rhyperior.
Rhyhorn.
Noibat.
Tyranitar.
Routes.
Sylveon.
Noivern.
Nashmart.
What?
He tried to get us.
He's a little fucker when he does that, because I'm going, has he pulled one out from this bag?
You say it convincingly enough.
Is that a country? Is that a state in America?
No, I think Nashmark is on the U-Bahn in Germany, I think, or Vienna. It's on the underground. I'm sure Nashmarkt is like a market. Anyway.
It's the wrong Go-Fest, Coops.
Panic me, Coops.
Yeah.
Marked is market, yeah.
Coops, you panic me when you do that, because now I'm going, what letter does that end with? I'm going so fast.
I'll be honest, I thought I got away with that one.
No.
Anyway. God, I'm out. Oh,
Coming a
it's
regular
not
thing,
New York,
isn't it,
is it? All right, Ian.
Ooh.
All right, Marky boy, because I'm out, your Pokemon is going to be Reggie Drago.
Orangaroo.
Ooh.
Uxie.
Espeon.
Nincada.
Axew.
Wishy-washy.
Ivysaur.
Rhydon.
Nidoqueen.
Ninetales.
Sceptile.
He's a fucker. He's a fucker. He's a fucker with those E's, isn't he?
E.
Oh, the E, it always gets me. Oh,
Ooh.
okay.
For the
For the
dub
dub.
on top of the Empire State Building.
Pokemon UK versus Masterful 27. Masterful 27, your starting Pokemon for the final round tonight is Petalil.
Lileep.
Pancham.
Mudkip.
Pelipper.
Rattata.
Alakazam.
Mankey.
Yungoos.
Elekid.
It ends in an S, I'm afraid.
Oh, very good.
Oh, it's that fabled Donald Trump lookalike Pokemon.
I always get that one wrong. Oh.
Oh, that was a really good game, boys.
That was a good
We did
game.
really well. 3 rounds, solid.
Yeah. And then
Nice
Coops' one at the
work.
beginning. Yeah, that was good.
Thanks, Mark.
Love you.
Oh.
Love you.
Smooching.
I was trying to get new ones in that as well. Like we're trying to do a bit. It's like right, but I was like, can we get Don Fan in this one somehow? And see all these Pokemon.
Yeah, it's like, where's
But I feel like that-
Galvantula?
Hey, listen, over this year though, we've actually done well. Like new ones come in, and we all look at each other, we're like, "Oh,
I can't believe you went there."
Oh, yeah.
I still like getting my
Literally.
wishy-washy in, though. I still
Yeah,
like
I
it.
know.
Yeah.
Literally, it's normally when we get to the E's or the N's, someone says something extravagant, and we all look at each other and go, "Oh, that's a new
can't
one."
believe you did that.
Even now, like a year later, I still see Milo's face when I say wishy-washy, and the thought comes back to it.
I
It's
just
the horror.
it's that clip. We've got a clip now with the end. I always say when we do it, but it's that when it's so you went, "What the is that in?" You're like,
Well, that was in the award show, wasn't it?
It was.
That was
It
in the
really
award
was.
show. It was.
But cracking game. Boys, before we end the show, if you look to your right, there's something that's just as tall as the Empire State Building. Is that?
it's probably as wide as the Empire State.
I did say the radius doesn't decrease many weeks ago.
Oh dear, you can see it in the New York skyline. Apparently, boys, can you send us a photo so we can have a look?
It's like the skyscraper that was in How I Met Your Mother that Bryan
Goliath.
Cranston's character designed.
Goliath Bank. That was it.
Yes, that was
Goliath
it.
Bank headquarters. Is it Sven? We are Sven. We are Swedish designers. I have a
not a-
T-Rex that blows
It's not,
flames.
it's not a giant phallic building.
Good TV show, Coops. You have to watch that if you've got a spare year of your life. It's a long series. So my poll was out for everyone to see, and it had 187 people on it.
Ooh.
Very impressive.
Wow.
More popular than Empire State Building.
Very popular. And
Yeah.
the poll was simply, with Pokemon Go-Fest 23 approaching fast, which Go-Fest new shiners are you most excited for?
Yeah, this poll was definitely not posted like 6 weeks ago.
It was not airing for
Nope.
that long, was it?
No, it wasn't. No.
It's a new poll. So for the UK...
Fresh.
Fresh. For the UK and Osaka, or I should say for UK and Japan, we've got Petalil and Jupiter. That's it, isn't it? Boys?
Jupiter the Stupider.
Jupiter the Stupider.
I like
I'm
that.
going to use that now. For the USA, we've got Gollet and Squelp. And then for global, we've got both Shellos, Joltik, Arangaroo, and Gumi. There's a lot more than that one.
Nice.
Anyway, I'm not predetermining the result of the poll, so let's see what some people have said on it. This wasn't 6 weeks ago.
Nope.
No,
Not at all.
absolutely not.
And Del Hazard X has said, I was surprised by how good Jupiter's shiny is, so that gets the vote. The Keen Brown has said the New York shiny releases will give 12-kilometre eggs more meaning, and Gollet shiny hunt for Halloween.
Oh, he's predicting the future.
I like that. So that's not only 6 weeks later from the time this was within that show. Spin Diana says, I will be at London for all 3 days, which will hopefully be an amazing event, but I am more excited for the global shinies.
Fair.
1 month today until London, or 2 weeks ago, would it be? From this
2
week?
weeks ago.
2 weeks ago from London. Sneasel Claw has put London because I'll actually be going to that one. Okay.
Will have gone.
Or went to that one.
Went to that one. Also, nice to see some new names on this, actually. Glimora has put Jupiter shiny is so good. Have to go with that one. Gumi's close second. Johnny Butterazzi. Johnny Butterazzi. Worcester Jupiter was in New York. Laugh out loud. That shiny is fire. Besides that, the Gumi, but the one most excited to me, other than Rayquaza, is the White Squirrel. I so want that hundo. I think that'll be Pachirisu, wouldn't it, Ian?
It would be, but it's not shiny.
Definitely not.
Kind of missed the point.
Yeah, like, well, I'm going to do both, but both wasn't an option. So that wasn't a shiny. Christian 40 or Christian Fouty has put, I'm excited for Global the most because I get to play globally. It is in the name. But all the shinies except Petalil, I'm super excited for. I get that. Petalil is a bit of a...
Very subtle, yeah.
It's a bit disappointing, yeah.
Very
But
subtle.
the evolution is pretty cool.
It is actually, that is a pretty cool one. And then Soul, we like Soul. Soul's put Orangaroo will be sick with a few Ks at the end to overemphasize how sick it will be. But I can't wait for the Global to actually have a chance at that cowboy hat, big boy shiny.
Yeah.
We won't talk about Berlin, but yes, there'll be some people that didn't get that one from last year.
That was the chase for the in-person GO-Fest last year. It really was.
Indeed.
So,
I'm excited. I'm excited for the Global, for sure.
Not long, mate. Next week.
I know.
Next
I
week,
know.
yeah, next week.
Yeah.
On my birthday.
I can't actually play it because I'm working, but I'm excited.
So, we have got 187 votes on the poll. We said that before. In third place, with 13% of the vote, New York.
Ooh, that's a
what?
bad turnout.
It is, but really, if you look at the shinies that were available for this event that we've played this weekend, they're not the best, really, are they?
And also, out of those groups, New York will have the least people at it.
Yes.
Or will have had the least people at it.
Maybe.
Sort of.
Well, yeah, because if you could put London and Osaka together, wouldn't you, realistically? So
Indeed.
potentially have a bigger turnout, yes. Yep, indeed. Indeed.
In second place, with 37% of the vote, London and Osaka.
Again, makes sense.
Yeah.
I think another factor for the winner with 50% is Global. There's a lot more new ones in there, aren't there? You've got the two shells, you've got Jolt, you've got Orangaroo, you've got Gumi. And let's be honest, Orangaroo's pretty sick, actually. I think I'm going to like that even more. Shellos, yeah.
Both forms of Shellos. Yeah, there's 5 or 6 new shinies for the Global.
Quantity over quality, I guess.
And Gumi. And Gumi, isn't it?
No, I definitely think that was the most natural sway
Yeah.
of the poll there.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I can see that the thing that is Mark's poll is now slowly what seems like deflating.
Yeah.
Yes, it's been very much spent here in New York. It will work its way back to good old British Blighty. But, of course, New York, GO-Fest, there must have been plenty of sparkles over the last couple of weeks.
Shinies of the week.
The first one up is from Mark Bailey. Thank you for the trade that My Little Pony. It was very, very much appreciated back in London 2 weeks ago. This one says, at Incensed Podcast, hashtag Shinies of the Week, 49th out of 53 checks. First shiny Paris, so this would have been Paris Spotlight Hour 2 weeks ago. Had the added suspense from network drop. 2, so didn't know if it was there for a few minutes. I feel your pain. I remember when that happened to me at Dortmund Safari Zone with my first ever shiny there. And yeah, it's one of those moments. But yeah, shiny Paris. GG's. I still need that one. I still don't have my first ever shiny Paris. So yeah, nice catch, Mark.
Fab shiny. We've got to throw this one back to just before London GO-Fest. And this was pretty insane. A lucky trade between 2 of our fabulous Patreon members, Del Hazard and Hermes Ninja lucky traded on the Thursday, the Cavendish Square Social, and Del Hazard got the lucky, shiny Hundo Tapu Fini, the Schlundo Tapu Fini.
Schlundo Tapu Fini. GG's Del.
That's an astonishingly awesome Schlundo to have. So, mega congrats.
That deserves a
Toit.
I was
The
there.
toitest of
I was
Tapus.
there.
We were all there.
I was
Yeah.
We were all there, actually.
We were.
So we've got one here from Knack VGK, and he's basically said, I'm not a fan of Pogo infographics, and in brackets, especially the almost always erroneous Niantic ones. Yeah, we do feel that. We do feel that. But I'm having a rollicking good time listening to the latest At Incensed podcast episode with Couple of Gaming's Yaya. Lots of fun. And also hatched a shiny tyrant whilst on the journey. Hashtag shinies of the
Ooh,
week.
nice.
That's amazing. That is
Nice.
That's actually a very timely shiny given where we are. It was here for New York Go Fest as a featured spawn, so a roaring success.
Absolutely GG's. But boys, where's Coops gone?
Oh, we did say it was the Ginger Kong, so I think he's leapt from one building to the next.
Yeah, seriously. Oh well, we'll carry on without him then, shall we?
Yeah. Let's just press on, shall we?
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for sending in your shiners of the week. But please share your shiners with us in any way you want. So Campfire, X, Instagram, Threads. You can even send us one by WhatsApp. And if you want to send us one by WhatsApp, you need to send it to +44 759 269 5696. That number is in every description of our episodes, but it's a WhatsApp voice message number, but we will take shiners of the week through it as well.
Absolutely, and we love to see those shinies coming through on all of our socials. But that's going to wrap up this New York special, boys. And can I just say, I love the fact that there was no wind noise at the top of the Empire State Building. It was almost like it was done in a studio.
It is. And can I also say, we don't need to record next week because that's in the can as well.
Well, we can have a week off. What?
Yes.
Unbelievable. Actually, I don't believe it. But something I do believe is that if you enjoyed the episode that you are listening to, do not hesitate to drop a 5-star review, particularly over on Spotify, so that the Ginger Kong cannot be so enraged. That would be smashing. And if you could hit the follow, subscribe, plus button, whatever it is on the podcast platform you are listening to us on, so that you don't miss a freshly downloaded episode every Sunday when we drop them, that would be smashing as well. And on the note of thanks, we've got to say an enormous thank you to every single person who is a Patreon supporter of ours. Everybody who is on the bronze and the silver tiers, thank you so much for your pledges, and it does really help us in an enormous way. But a special thank you, a Mega Diancie requires a hybrid thank you to everybody who's a gold tier member who get to enjoy the live streams when we record regular episodes, because we're at the top of the Empire State Building. The YouTube connection's a bit iffy. So thank you to...
It costs a lot to rent this space out.
It does indeed, yes. And security weren't too happy about it. So thank you to the gold tier members who are Hermes Ninja, JB, Clifford Mert, Darby Russ, Kerry and Zachary, Connor Lee, ML Folk 2022, Apex 171, K Technogal, Mufti, Barside 2, JLH 1919, and finally Highbone. You guys don't understand how much it really does help us polish and produce this show to a high quality that you get to enjoy. We love doing it, and we are eternally thankful that you choose to support us and get us to record not only at London Go Fest, but at the top of the Space Needle last year, and now at the top of the Empire State Building as well.
Absolutely, because we don't miss weeks.
Oh, yes, and be organised and actually be able to miss weeks and structure things. Thank you, people.
Almost like we planned this show, isn't it? But boys, good news.
What?
Don't forget, Tuesday, next week, August 22nd, Venonat Spotlight Hour, and I'm hoping I can play more than 15 minutes because I still need that pig in shiny, and 2 times candy for catching Pokemon.
absolutely, Ian. This is your one. This is your one.
Venonat, I'm wishing you the best of luck, sir, in your 30 seconds of gameplay.
This is my 5 minutes of Spotlight. My Spotlight 5 minutes.
Spotlight 5 minutes. But on that potential bombshell, which we won't find out for 2 weeks, we will see you next week live from Brockwell Park, London Go Fest. We've got an absolutely insane show coming your way. We hope you stick with us.
and do take care.
Exactly.
Do take care. I like that.